Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be like a takeover, okay? So my dad's going to be taking over my channel today, but so it's Nigerian Independence Day video about the history, and the video is also sponsored by Sendwave, so we're going to be talking about Sendwave in the second part of the video. But yeah, Dad, okay, you ready to talk about Nigerian independence?
Okay, yes. I can only talk about what I was taught and what I have read about Nigerian independence. Nigeria was colonized by the British, and I think colonizing Nigeria began about 1897 when the British first came to the then Benin Kingdom. You know, as at that time there wasn't Nigeria as we know it now. They came to the Benin Kingdom via Ugoton. They passed through a lot of villages, including my village, which is called Ugbine.
So you said Nigeria wasn't known as Nigeria. What was it known as?
There wasn't a Nigeria then.
Okay.
But you just had different kingdoms. You had the Benin Kingdom, you had the Yoruba, you had the Benin Empire, the Yoruba Empire. The Igbos had their own separate area. As an entity, as a people, the northern part of Nigeria. As at that time, there wasn't, you know, so-called Hausa. You had the Kanuri, you had the Nupe, you had the Fulanis, and etc., etc. So when they came to Nigeria in 1897 through Ugoton, which is in the present-day Edo State, and then they migrated through a lot of villages through Ugbinen and then to Benin Kingdom. The Benis were unhappy because they came about Christmas period and the monarch doesn't see foreign visitors at that time, and they were insisting they have to see the monarch, they have to see the Oba of Benin. So there was some difficulties, and then the Benis ended up killing 7 of the 9 British soldiers that came. 2 managed to escape, went back to Ugoton, and then they were able to journey but sail back to Britain to let them know what has happened. And then eventually full-scale war was declared by the British against the Benin Kingdom in 1897. So eventually in 1897 they now came in masses with weapons. At that time we didn't know anything about guns. And then eventually the Oba of Benin, which was called Oba Ovorame at that time, was sacked. And then they exiled him to Calabar. And then they looted the palace of the king of the Oba of Benin and burnt down the city. Well, if you go to the British the British Museum today, all those artifacts that they stole are still there today. And then eventually, like I said, as I said, Oba Ovorame was exiled to Calabar, and then the British began to rule Benin. And then eventually they began to realize that, okay, actually, you know, I think we have something that we can take from here to England. And then they began to colonize the northern part of Nigeria as well, and the western part and the eastern part. Eventually, Oba Ovorame died in exile in 1914. And in that same 1914, that's when the British amalgamated the north and the south. We were in the south, the Benin Kingdom, including Esan, Shekiri, and Urobos. We were all together in the Benin Kingdom. That is the present day Edo State, Delta State, and a number of other states like that. Eventually in 1914, the north and the south were amalgamated by the British for their own administrative purpose, to be able to help them to be able to administer the north and the south. Administrative purpose simply means that before 1914 they were administering the Benin Kingdom and the Yoruba Kingdom and Oduduwa Empire and the north separately. But in 1914 they thought, look, if we force these people and get them all together, then it will be easier for us to get all we want from every part of the country. So that's what I mean by amalgamation, for their own benefit. And then gradually the struggle for independence started. We have, you know, the late Herbert Macaulay. Herbert Macaulay was, from my recollection, I think I'm right, I may be wrong, whether the son of one of the slaves that returned to Nigeria, yes. And Herbert Macaulay was a powerful voice in the struggle against colonialism. Chief Obafemi Awolowo, you have Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the then Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa, Chief Enahoro. What started to brew the feeling was that there was now a culture of your second citizen, your second-class citizen in your own country. And also the British were looking for a trade area wherever they could trade their goods. So they saw Nigeria then as a large trade area to be able to sell their manufactured goods in Britain, that keep people employed in Britain and sell them in Nigeria. Yes, it was like goods were manufactured in UK, they were brought to Nigeria, and they sell them in Nigeria, and money from Nigeria was coming back to the UK. You have a typical example of Scotch. I remember a great intellect in Nigeria was called Dr. Tai Solarin. You know, at that time, the British were trying to promote Scotch whiskey. We have so-called whiskey. We have a Nigerian-made whiskey, which was just as good or maybe better than...
What's it called?
Where different people in different tribes in Nigeria call it different name. Because I'm an Edo man, we call it Kankan. Some people call it Ogogoro. In Yoruba, we call it Ogogoro. I think the Igbos also call it Gogoro too. It was just as good as whiskey. But the British wanted to establish a market for Scotch whiskey or Scottish, I think it's called whiskey, isn't it? Not so good at wine. So it's because they wanted to establish a market for that. They banned the locally made alcohol, which is a Kankan or Gogoro. So this man, Dr. Tai Solarin, I think I understand this was about, is it 1948? I'm not too sure of my date, but I'm sure of the character. So Dr. Tai Solarin was one of those that were protesting that. Tai Solarin, by the way, was married to a white British. And he's the founder of Tai Solarin Mayflower School in Ijebu-Ode. Very intelligent gentleman. Dr. Tai Solarin protested against this and led a lot of protests. And eventually, I think he took the Nigerian wine, the Nigerian-made Gogoro, and I think I understand he took it that to their offices and drank it there. I think he was arrested or something. I'm not too sure of my facts there, but to show his disgust at what they are trying to do. So a combination of all this, a combination of the fact that Nigeria was producing intellect at that time, you know, like Dr. Solarin, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe studied in America. He was a PhD holder, I think. But he studied in America. He was already back. You know, Herbert Macaulay was well read. You know, a lot of Nigerian, like this Chief Obafemi Awolowo was well read. These are people that studied here. And then when they go back home, they realize that, hey, if we carry on like this, we're going to remain slaves to these people. And we won't be able to govern our land and put in place what is our culture and what will help our development. These were the things that propel them to work hard against colonialism. Yeah, eventually, I think around 1954, you know, we have different British leaders that were sent to Nigeria at that time, and each one produced constitution. I understand there were, I think I remember there were Little T constitution in the beginning when they invaded the Benin Kingdom. Was General Philip also. Then we now had the Mr. Littleton. I think he's the one that produced the Littleton Constitution and various other constitutions that didn't work, that the people didn't like. But then they begin to allow, in preparation for independence, the British begin to allow for general election. We now had, similar to the House of Commons here, we have Parliament in Nigeria, where you have the Prime Minister, the Queen remained the sovereign. And you had the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition. So still under the watching eyes of the British. It was at that time, if my facts had me right, that 1954, there was a highly intelligent gentleman called Chief Anthony Enahoro. I think he was about 26 years old at that time. That moved a motion of independence for Nigeria. In the Nigerian Parliament in Lagos. That move succeeded. And that move or that bill or that law was what paved way for Nigeria independence, which was eventually in about 6 years after that, which happened in 1960. In 1960, it was a time of jubilation from what we read, from what we were told, from photos that we saw. It was a time of jubilation. People were happy that they were now free. We are free to govern ourselves. We are free to make our laws. We are free to lead ourselves and be counted among the great in the nations. We are still free to take our place in the UN. We are free to, for our Prime Minister or the President to represent Nigeria in the UN General Assembly, making speeches about what role they want Nigeria to play in the then world. So this was the pathway that led to Nigeria independence, and from then on things make progress. I can't recollect violence. I cannot recollect violence. I think it was a peaceful, non-cooperative kind of style of first Prime Minister Gandhi too. And so I think that led to the arrest of quite a number of our leaders that were in prison. But even though they were in prison, they had access to newspapers, they had access to where they could write letters and all that. They had access to their own media and stuff like that. But I wouldn't discount the fact that the British must have sensed that, look, it's no point staying here. I think that's why they decided, okay, let's just give them independence and let them govern themselves. Things make progress. So in 1960, when we became independent, Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa, I wasn't grown up then to really see him speak, but I've heard him speak, and they used to call him the golden voice. His English, his command of English was superlative. He was an intelligent gentleman from the north, highly respected. Wasn't an individual that people could easily push around, from what I understand. So
was he voted in, or was he placed there?
He was voted in.
Okay.
I think I've seen photo when he visited America, and when he visited America at that time, he didn't go alone. He went with quite a large entourage, including members of the opposition party. So he was, and things made progress. We begin to have, electricity was available. There was water here and there. I remember when I was small, I've seen some adverts those days that if there's going to be electricity interruption, there will be a notice well ahead that, well, there's going to be electricity interruption between this time and this time, with a public apology. But today, the nation's electricity cannot be trusted.
But did they teach you about Nigerian independence in history?
Oh, no.
Oh, they didn't? Did they teach you?
They taught. They mentioned.
Maybe they did, though, but I wasn't
She wasn't
interested.
Wasn't interested. So Dad's gonna talk to you guys a little bit about Sendwave. If you have any questions, you could ask them.
Okay, Sendwave is a fast way to send money from the UK to Nigeria without transfer fees. You cannot beat that. I have been sending money to Nigeria all the time, and there's always commission. If you send £100, you pay £5 commission. It used to be £10 years ago. But for Sendwave to send money to Nigeria without transfer fees, wow, that is good. Send as little as £1 for no commission. Download the app. Go to Google Play, Apple App Store. Sign up using your name, your email address, and your phone number. Wave recently became Sendwave. Sendwave is the same company committed to providing no fees. No fees. Instant credit. With Sendwave, you can send money directly from your phone to any Nigeria bank account. Sendwave sends money to Nigeria, to Ghana, to Tanzania, Uganda, and guess what? Kenya, and to Kenya as well. I have a promo code, AGOSA, when you download the app to have £10 added to your first transfer. Wow! Sendwave has users. Make yourself one of them. I'll be using it straight away this week. Happy Independence.
That was basically it. So obviously my dad is not a YouTuber, so but Dad tried. There's a round of applause for Dad. All of the details for Sendwave will be below. My coupon code will be below. Oh, okay, fine. My coupon code will be below. Yeah, as I said, Google Play and App Store, you can get it on there. I wanted to sign up my dad for this, but I think the video will be too long. But we'll sign you up like now.
Okay. Hope
you enjoyed the video, and yeah, send wave, send wave, send wave. Happy Independence Day. Bye.
Bye.